Senator Chris Van Hollen's recent trip to El Salvador has ignited a fierce political firestorm, fueled by the controversial deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and the starkly contrasting narratives surrounding his case. The Maryland senator posted a photo on X, formerly Twitter, of his meeting with Abrego Garcia, a Salvadorian citizen who was deported to El Salvador in March by the Trump administration, despite a standing immigration court order preventing his removal. This simple image, devoid of any substantive update on Abrego Garcia's status, has become a potent symbol of a deep political divide. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia encapsulates the bitter legacy of the Trump administration's immigration policies, exposing the chasm between political rhetoric and the lived realities of those caught in its web. While Trump officials claimed Abrego Garcia, a longtime Maryland resident, had ties to the notorious MS-13 gang, his legal team vehemently denies these allegations, pointing out the complete absence of any criminal charges or credible evidence linking him to gang activity. This lack of concrete evidence forms the bedrock of the Democrats' outrage, who paint Abrego Garcia's deportation as a blatant disregard for judicial process and a cruel act of injustice inflicted upon a man who has lived a law-abiding life in the United States. The Democrats' narrative centers on the perceived disregard for the rule of law under the Trump administration. They emphasize the seemingly arbitrary nature of Abrego Garcia's deportation, highlighting the court order that was explicitly ignored. This, they argue, is a prime example of the Trump administration's aggressive and often callous approach to immigration, where due process is routinely sacrificed at the altar of expediency and political posturing. They frame Abrego Garcia as a victim of a system that failed to uphold its own rules, leaving him stranded in a foreign country with uncertain prospects. The image of Van Hollen meeting him serves as a visual testament to this perceived injustice, silently amplifying the Democrats' accusations of cruelty and disregard for the courts. Republicans, however, offer a sharply contrasting perspective. They argue that Abrego Garcia's deportation is not an isolated incident of injustice, but rather a necessary step in a broader effort to combat crime and enhance national security. They defend the Trump administration's actions, asserting that the government possesses intelligence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13, even if that intelligence remains undisclosed to the public. The Republicans' narrative focuses on the perceived threat posed by MS-13, framing Abrego Garcia's deportation as a measure to protect American communities from gang violence. This framing allows them to deflect criticism by shifting the focus from procedural irregularities to the broader issue of public safety, effectively reframing the narrative from one of individual injustice to a matter of national security. The lack of a concrete update from Senator Van Hollen, despite his visit and the accompanying photograph, further fuels the political fire. The silence leaves the public to interpret the situation based on their pre-existing political biases, making the image a Rorschach test of political perspectives. Democrats see a powerful visual representing a broken system, while Republicans interpret it as a confirmation of the necessity of tough immigration policies. The image itself becomes a potent symbol, stripped of context and open to vastly differing interpretations, mirroring the deep political chasm that divides the nation on immigration issues. The ongoing silence around Abrego Garcia's current situation only deepens the mystery and fuels the intensity of this already highly charged political debate. The lack of transparency reinforces the perception of a system that is opaque, unpredictable, and ultimately unjust in the eyes of many. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, therefore, transcends a simple immigration dispute, evolving into a powerful symbol of the ongoing struggle over immigration policy and the very nature of justice and fairness within the American system.